No, and going back to that point around on the property providing habitat and environment for flora and fauna, um, is there a sort of lack of understanding, do you think, at a regulatory level, at a conceptual level, when academics talk about it, when universities teach environmental management? Do you think there's a lack of recognition that landholders are actually probably the most invested in protecting the species richness and biodiversity and habitat on their own properties?
I think to a reasonable extent that's true, because again, landholders aren't one size fit all. There would be people who would disagree with my view, because they would say it should be their right to do absolutely whatever they want. But generally, I think landholders, or the people that I knew, would be looking at, like, they're not going to go into the riverbeds and knock down the old red river gums, and like, it just doesn't work like that,
Yeah.
and you're constantly looking at your land and trying to keep this balance, because every year it changes. So I would say that, well, certainly in my experience and with the family that I knew as landholders, being my husband's family, they were very environmentally conscious.
Yeah, and is that in some part, there's obviously the emotional or human element and attachment to the land, but also there's an economic imperative driving that consciousness about the environment.
Oh, you have to manage to exactly what the environment provides you. So if you don't have any rain, you have to uh, manage to that and say, well, I have to sell my cattle or my sheep because I don't have enough rain to grow enough grass to keep all of those. So to me, a land manager is constantly monitoring. And we've become much more sophisticated about it, but I think there's an instinctive, when you live there and you your whole life is about observation. Yes, you're observing your cattle, but you're also observing the grass. And, like, your land is the nourishment for everything else you do. So I believe there's a very strong imperative to look after it as best you can, married with, yes, you want to be able to live there and educate your children.
All right, thank you. That was great.
Great big ramble there, Izzy.
That was